I think it's the two kind of big pillars are the actual nutrition piece, and there's the actual like practical piece, how to set yourself up for success, reducing resistance, things like Atomic Habits teaches, like any habit that you're wanting to build, how can we reduce resistance, make it so easy, we do a lot of simple swaps, because there is a big piece that's like, if my current habit is going to the, ordering Uber Eats, McDonald's, versus I'm going to spend 3 hours in the kitchen cooking something, like what am I going to do when I'm tired? So it's like how to minimize the effort and make it so easy. And a lot of it's just education. People, and there's so much knowledge out there, but it can be really overwhelming. People are like, I don't know what to do, so then they just don't. So simple swaps of like improving ingredients, and then when your body's hormonally functioning better and you're eating more real food, those cravings are going to go down, and it's less like what happened for me with the Whole30 was like I had more conscious control because my body wasn't just running on this like hyper processed sugar addiction. So there is a huge piece on like what you're putting in your body. But I think the piece that diet culture misses so much is the emotional piece. And when people have a binge, and if I'm working with someone and someone has a binge, it's like, awesome, let's study that. Like what happened? Because look how many days you've had that have been amazing, and let's study your successes. What was different about this day? And let's go into that. And I always share this poem, and I don't know it by heart, so I won't share it. But it's, if anyone wants to look it up, it's an autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. She basically says like, I woke up. I'm not going to try to say it, but it's essentially that like when we're trying to do something new and create new habits, like we're gonna fall into a hole. And it's going to take, the first time we do it, it'll take a long time to get out. And then we go down the same street and we fall in the same hole, and it takes us maybe a little bit less time to get out. And then we go down the same street and we see the hole, we still fall on, but we get out really quickly. And then we go down the same street and we see the hole and we walk around it. And then the chapter 5 of this poem is, then I walk down a different street. So it's like just the gentleness when we're trying to do something differently that we have. If, like for myself, if I've binge eaten and used sugar to cope for 20 years of my life, and then all of a sudden I expect myself not to do that never again, that's just unrealistic. And so it's like the acceptance, like to build that into your plan, that like there's gonna be falls, and you get to use those as ways to learn about yourself, to set yourself up better next time. But it's taking the time to look at that. Because a lot of times, and I know for myself, this is the case. I did it. Here's a habit. I kept being late. So I go to F45 and I love it. And I just kept being like 5 minutes late. Like every time. I'm like, Ellie, like what time it starts. Like, why do you keep leaving 5 minutes late? And it was because I wasn't like actually sitting down to think through like, okay, why am I actually being 5 minutes late? And then I did that this time. I sat and I literally was like, think through. Like, how much time would you actually need? Like, when do you really need to leave, and what's getting in your way? Or you don't know where your shoes are. You don't know where your keys are. And actually thinking through those things. And then guess what? I was on time this morning because I actually sat, but I kept just being late because I wasn't pausing to reflect on like what are the contributing factors. So when we do this, like you become your own experiment and you study yourself. And that's why you're like with the journaling, like that's huge, because when you're writing it out, you're actually looking at it. And I think that's why it's helpful to have someone in your life that you can reflect with, because there's dedicated time for it. Then you're actually pausing to sit and think through versus just continuing to run that same neural pathway. If you're trying to build a new neural pathway, you may have heard this analogy, but like if I've done something for 20 years, I have this super highway in my brain that it is so easy to take that highway because I don't have to think about it. We're just going, and I'm going to go eat sugar because I just got really stressed, and that's what I'm used to doing. And now I'm trying to build a new neural pathway, which is like, compared to the super highway that's so easy, it's like a path in the forest that is so filled with trees that I can't even get my way through. I'm going to have to like push branches aside, and it takes so much more effort. But if I keep taking that path, then I'm clearing those trees out, and it's getting easier every single time I go down it. And maybe sometimes I just don't have the energy to go down that forest path, and I'm going to go on the superhighway. Awesome. But tomorrow, or in this new moment, like this next moment, I can go down the forest path, and I'm going to make that one easier. And eventually that one becomes the pathway you take on default. And the superhighway starts to get, I don't know what the analogy would be, like starts to build some like blockages, and it's actually harder to take that one, but it just takes time. So I think it's having patience and compassion with yourself. And a mantra I always use for people is like, every moment is a new moment to choose new, or like consciously to like choose the thing that not the autopilot conditioning, like to choose the thing that you're wanting to choose. Yeah, so sorry, I'll let you speak to that.